Okay, so thanks so much everyone to coming to join us today for our hybrid version of International Workers' Memorial Day. And for people who don't know me, I'll be chairing this afternoon now. My name's Sarah Season, I'm the Secretary of Leicester and Districts Trade Union Council. Apologies if there's any noise in the background where I am, I'll mute in between speaking, but I've got a bit of building work going on here. So as I just explained, this is going to be a hybrid meeting today as it was last year, and I hope you'll bear with me a little bit because I'm trying to run the technical stuff as well as chairing at the same time. We did think long and hard about whether this should be hybrid or just in Town Hall Square like it was in the past and what we should do. And we decided to stick to something similar to what we'd done last year. So there is a bit of a presence down in Town Hall Square today, and you'll hear from them in a little bit. And then there's those of us on Zoom, because today of all days, it's important to recognise that COVID is still around, that there are still dangers and unsafe conditions for many of us if we do choose to meet in person. And so we didn't want to put anyone in an unsafe position. So people are joining us from all over the place, either on Zoom or in Town Hall Square today. So I hope you appreciate having an attempt at a hybrid event. So I'm just letting a few more people in. And then I'll kick off the meeting in the traditional way by reading out the name of the people who've been killed in the last year and taking a moment's silence. Then we'll be having some recorded music provided by Red Leicester, and then we'll be having some speeches as well. So that's the general format of this morning. So I'll make a start if everyone is okay then. So just to begin with, I'd like us to take a moment to remember those that have been killed due to unsafe working conditions in the last year. I'll be reading out the names of people killed in the East Midlands, but obviously this is an issue across the country and across the entire world. And then I'll invite you, if that's okay, to join me in a moment's silence, and then we'll go to the people at Town Hall Square.
The sole purpose of the expenditure, the potential benefit of the director's family must have been at least a part of the reason of the expenditure.
Pardon? Sorry? Apologies, I'm not sure if that was a comment to me or just something in the background. So can I just ask you to all kindly remain on mute if you're not actually speaking, because obviously it's easy for us to forget where we are. So if you'd all like to join me just to kick off the meeting by taking a moment for us to remember people that have died in the last year due to unsafe working conditions. And I'm going to read out the names of the people that we know about, but obviously there's many more people that have been killed or died as a result of unsafe working conditions that we do not know about. So these are just those that we know about. So Ben Spencer, Paul Johnson, John Furness, Jeffrey Wingfield, Craig Naish, Lugman Hakim, Alan Knowles, and then, as I say, all the other people who have been killed as a result of unsafe working conditions in the last 12 months. So I'd like to invite you all now to join me in a minute's silence to remember these people and their loved ones, family and friends. And then at the end of the minute, I'll give us a brief music contribution from Red Leicester, and then we'll go to Town Hall Square where we'll hopefully be able to see the flowers that have been laid there. So thank you, and please join me in a moment's silence. Now I'm just going to finish off the minute with a contribution from Red Leicester. which hopefully will Okay, thanks everyone. So hopefully now I'm going to pass to Chris Willers, who's down in Town Hall Square, so that he can show us what's going on there and hopefully be able to show you all the flowers that have been laid at the memorial there. Chris, you are muted.
Yep.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody. So here we are in Town Hall Square. We're flying our banner, as you can see, next to the Town Hall. And we are following on my iPad and speaker the events that are going on Zoom. So there's a small crowd assembled here of various trade union officials. Say hello and wave, everybody. Okay, so various unions. NEU offices are just at the bottom of Town Hall Square, so they've popped out to join us. So we've got the flowers here. So we've got GMB, Leicester General, the trade union, the Trades Council itself, NEU, Health, Safety and Welfare Committee of the Trades Council, UCU Loughborough, NEU Leicestershire, the Labour group from the City Council, Patrick Kittrick, Unite East Midlands, LE23, the Red Leicester Choir, Paul and Polly Henderson, Unison Leicestershire, and Unite Retired Members. And we've also, next to the memorial tree, which is looking very fine, there is a plaque in this corner of Town Hall Square. If you've never been and noticed it before, make sure you come and have a look and take a moment to think about those people that have lost their lives just through going to work. And we've also got a large spray from Unison and GMB L10 branch. Okay, so that's what's happening in Town Hall Square. So Sarah, back to you.
Thanks, Chris. And I hope everyone finds that useful. I know it's not necessarily quite the same as the days when we all used to be able to gather in Town Hall Square, but it's nice to have a presence again there this year. And hopefully, depending on how the situation goes, maybe next year we'll all be together, or maybe we'll be doing something like this again, we'll see. So next up, we're going to have some speakers and some contributions. Now, speakers, I hope it's okay. I'm going to reorder slightly. So if it's okay, firstly, the Lord Mayor, then John Ashworth, if that's okay, and then Sean, and Natalie, then Sean, just because I'm aware, John, I believe you're down in Westminster today, and I'm sure you'd appreciate the chance to be able to get back to work if required. So if it's okay, first of all, I'd like to invite a contribution from the Lord Mayor, Deepak Bajaj. Apologies, have I said that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Deepak. If you'd like to go first, give us your contribution to the meeting.
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm privileged to join you today to commemorate the International Workers' Memorial Day. Each year, we commemorate the workers who've tragically been killed or injured whilst carrying out their duty, their work. This day has been commemorated for many years by the international trade union movement in countries all over the world. And since 2010, this day was officially recognised by the British government. The Workers' Memorial Day was initiated by the Canadian Union of Public Employees and declared a day of remembrance on the 28th of April in 1985 by the Canadian Labour Congress. This was later made official worldwide by the Victims of the Workplace Injuries Day of Mourning Act. Each year, over 2 million workers worldwide die from work-related causes. Such causes are just greatly reduced in workplaces where staff can belong to trade unions who collectively take action to protect the interests of the workers. It is therefore fitting that the Leicester and District Trade Union Council are responsible for organising this annual event. It has been customary for Leicester to hold a simple ceremony every year at Town Hall Square at the tree and plaque dedicated to those who have died in the workplace accidents. The plaque was placed at Town Hall Square originally, thanks to a collaborative relationship between the City Council, local trade union branches, and the Trades Council. The slogan for Workers' Memorial Day is Remember the Dead, Fight for the Living. The theme for 2022 continues to be Health and Safety at Work is a Fundamental Right. I would like to thank you all for joining this online event today, and I know that you will continue to work together to make workplaces safer and healthier environments for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution, Deepak, and it's always good to have a reminder of the history of Workers' Memorial Day. So thank you so much for providing us with that. Next up, if it's okay, I'd like to invite John Ashworth, who's one of the local MPs for Leicester South and also a shadow minister. John, if you'd like to make your contribution.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak early on in the proceedings because I have to get back to Westminster duties here in the House of Commons. I want to join you today, as I have often joined you throughout the years I've been your Member of Parliament, to express my solidarity, to show my support, to speak to you as both the Labour Member of Parliament for Leicester South, but also as a trade union member and the Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. I was for many years, as you know, also the Shadow Health Secretary. And I was the Shadow Health Secretary throughout the first 2 years of the COVID pandemic. And what we saw in that pandemic was working people who were never offered the luxury of being able to stay at home and do everything by Zoom. Many working people who had to go to work in our care homes, to work in our National Health Service, to work in our supermarkets or factories or in travel, such as bus driving and taxi driving. Many of these working people were the ones who caught COVID early, became seriously ill with COVID. Sadly, many lost their lives on the front line, particularly in social care and the NHS, because they were caring for others. We've always known as trade unionists that people in the workplace can be put at risk, whether that's hard industrial work, whether that is because they're at a desk all day long and in unsuitable circumstances because they're on their phones, or simply because of the stresses of modern life, the stresses of the cost of living crisis, combined with inappropriate practices in the workplace causing untold mental health problems. These are all issues that all of us should be speaking out upon and fighting for. And I am pleased that in my new role as Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, the Health and Safety Executive and health and safety in the workplace is actually one of the issues I am responsible for, alongside ensuring we get decent sick pay for all as well. I just want to finish on this observation also. The pandemic brought back into sharp focus a scandal that all of us at this event today have known about for many years in Leicester, but we have collectively struggled to find a way of dealing with it. And that is the ongoing abuses that we hear of in various sweatshops. So I want to pay tribute to the trade unions who have quite rightly said enough is enough and have come together to help us arrange outreach workers based out of the Highfield Centre to deal with some of these scandals. I know Leicester City Council have been working on this as well, and I know many of you in your different roles and capacities across the city have been working on it also. But ensuring people have not just good wages at work, a good pension to retire upon, but health and safety provision at work, so they're not made ill or sick simply to going to work every day and trying to put food on the table for their families. These are things that we as a trade union movement and a labour movement must fight for. And I repledge my commitment and solidarity to all of you for fighting for these issues in Leicester and for using my national platform down here at Westminster. So thank you again to Leicester Trade Unions for organising this event, and solidarity to all of you.
Thank you very much, John. You're welcome to stay for as much of the meeting as you can, but we all here understand if you need to get back to Westminster today. Thank you very much, and thank you for the reminder about the importance and the difficulties of the fashion sector in Leicester. I'm sure all of you here are aware, but the other major event in the trade union calendar is May Day, which is this Sunday, and we'll be holding an event at Leicester Highfield Centre, just to give that a brief plug. And part of the focus of that day will be some of the work that the Fashion Advice Bureau Leicester are brilliantly leading, trying to organise and support workers to be aware of their rights within the textile industry. Next up, I'd like to invite Natalie Grayson from GMB to address the meeting. Thank you, Natalie, for allowing me to shift the order a little bit there. So please make your contribution to the meeting.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. On behalf of the GMB Union, I would like to offer my deep condolences to the family and friends of the fallen workers who we honour today. Your loss is profound and a deeply painful one. Today we honour the fallen, but we also honour you, those who must courageously live on beneath a burden of unfathomable grief. Each of the workers we honour today left home to go to work one day, expecting to return as usual. And it's sad and it's senseless that they never made it back. It is difficult to accept that they could be taken from us so suddenly and under such terrible circumstances. And it's impossible to answer the questions that haunt us. How did this happen? Why did this happen? And what does it mean? And there are no easy answers. These are everyday tragedies that happen to everyday people, and workplace fatalities can occur in any occupation, at any age, to any person at any time. And many of us know that there were built-in and systematic problems threatening workers' safety, and the pandemic exposed this for all to see. And while many people had the privilege of home working, those performing the work that the system often deems unimportant became recognised as essential workers and held as heroes for doing the work that every single one of us relies on without a second thought. And make no mistake, our NHS staff, emergency service workers, care workers, local government workers, shop workers, delivery and warehouse workers, school workers, and all of those other essential workers showed tremendous courage every day when they showed up for work. Many fell ill through their work, and they are still suffering the long-term impacts of long COVID. And they deserve our thanks and praise, but these workers deserve far more than the recognition of their bravery. They deserve for the standards set with health and safety in workplaces to be maintained and built upon. They deserve to have union recognition, making their workplaces safer, with health and safety committees which give workers a seat at the table. They deserve a high standard of the right equipment to keep them safe. They deserve the right to full sick pay and enhanced sickness leave to help them to recover from the industrial diseases they are exposed to and to help heal their trauma without the worry of the financial burden or losing their job. Now, we must never stop learning the simple but critically important lessons from the pandemic and those who suffered the tragedy of loss. We must always strive to make workplaces safer and healthier, and we must work together to achieve the highest standards. We must make sure that every worker is alert to the potential danger or health risk. The only acceptable fatality rate is 0. On Workers' Memorial Day, we gather to mourn, to reflect, and to honour. But let us also rededicate ourselves to making every workplace in our region safer and healthier. Let's do all that we can to protect every single worker. Let's strive to do our best to reach a someday where there are no fallen workers to mourn. This is how we best honour those that we have lost. Let their legacy be one of life for others. Let the meaning of their tragic deaths be more vigilant commitment to the health and safety of all workers. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your contribution, Natalie, and such profound words. None of us wave goodbye to our loved ones in the mornings, expecting them to not return from work or to return from work with life-changing injuries. And all of us should remember the names of those people that I've read out and all the ones that we don't know the names of as we fight for better working conditions until we achieve that aim of no fatalities, no injuries in the workplace, as it should be. Thanks so much, Natalie. So last of all, I'd like to invite Sean Lee from Unite to provide a contribution to the meeting. Sean?
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. It's just about a quick apology. If you can hear a buzzing in the background, it's because of my laptop making strange noises. I just want to say, as always, it's an absolute honour and a privilege again to speak at the Leicester International Workers Memorial Day event. I spoke at this event a year ago, and I said then that we didn't envisage a year of heartbreak, fear, uncertainty, economic disaster, political incompetence, and a global health pandemic. So what's changed? Absolutely nothing. We didn't imagine that the health service, the we all know and love, a service that was created to protect us all by a Labour government, would find itself under the real pressures that it still faces, with a government with the people that work in the NHS, from consultants, doctors, nurses, cleaners, porters, and every NHS worker having to work during the COVID pandemic, many to the point of exhaustion, are still being treated with a lack of respect, a lack of funding, and a lack of real pay rises. This Workers' Memorial Day is a day to both reflect and remember, and to show our solidarity with all those that have died or have been seriously injured or affected mentally through employers failing in their duty of care, and a government that makes an excuse at every turn to cut back on safety practices and financial safety nets, and people feeling that they have no choice but to work themselves into an early grave just to keep the eating on or to put food on the table. Workers' Memorial Day is a time for both anger and it's a time for reflection. Anger that our loved ones, our colleagues, people just like us are being put in this position by ignorance and negligence, and reflection as to why, and to remember those that we have lost. Let's not forget that health and safety is a fundamental right for every worker in this country. Unite and its health and safety reps and all the other trade union safety reps represent workers across all sectors and continue to work tirelessly to protect the health, safety and livelihoods of our members at the workplace. In all of the sectors that we represent, workers have contributed to building a society that is comfortable and livable. Often workers are away from families and loved ones for days and weeks on end, especially in the industry that I used to represent a lot, which was the construction industry. And we work in what is a potentially dangerous environment. Yet some employers still feel that it's acceptable to put these workers in an even more dangerous position, or to increase the mental health of its workers by negligence and a race to increase profitability. Before the coronavirus pandemic, we saw many attacks on health and safety protection, a media attack that attempted to discredit health and safety as meaningless red tape and stand in the way of business success. As we are increasingly returning to work, we see poor employers failing their duty to protect its workforce by removing many of the protections against the pandemic, and by reverting to looking at health and safety as an inconvenience and a cost too far. We're also having to face new working environments and working from home, which in itself poses new challenges for trade unions, and how we ensure that those workers who are in the main hidden from sight are protected and supported both physically and mentally. A large proportion of British industry still refuses to provide adequate sick pay to help its workers pay the bills when sick or injured, leaving little choice than to return to work sick, injured, and potentially a danger to others. The past couple of years has highlighted the urgent need for sick pay to be paid at a livable and realistic rate, and for there to be no excuses for employers to refuse paying this decent sick pay. So what do we see now? We see that the government's asking cabinet members to come up with a bright idea, and that in itself is a challenge, to help in the current economic crisis. So what's one of the first to look at? Cut back on health and safety. It's always the one they target first. Death, injury, and increasing mental health issues at the workplace is not an acceptable occupational hazard. That's the reason we need strong health and safety laws, strong enforcement, and strong trade unions. Never before has health and safety at work and the safety of employees been so important. We, the trade unions, have to challenge and highlight those employers that threaten workers with a sack if they dare to raise concerns about safety about themselves and others. These are the type of employers who want our workers to work on the lowest possible wages, to work the longest hours, and sadly exploit workers, as we're seeing from the trade unions, we're seeing increasingly with the immoral fire and rehire tactics that some employers are using to reduce terms and conditions, including health and safety, and using the pandemic as a smokescreen to further exploit these workers. If the trade unions and the workers themselves don't fight to ensure safety, well, nobody else will. While it's our right today that we mourn and remember our colleagues who died at work, it's absolutely imperative that we do everything in our power to fight for the safety of our living. As groups and individuals collectively, we cannot accept that nothing can be done and that nothing will change. We should demand that the government and the opposition support health and safety legislation that protects us and our children's futures, and demand that they increase, not decrease, any protections at work. It's about your life and your children's lives, your family's future. Let's ensure that we all fight to make our workplaces safe. Let's take some action now. We remember those that we've lost. We organise in their memory. We can make that difference today, and we can make that difference in the future. So please keep safe and keep safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean, for your contribution to the meeting. And as you say, this is nothing new. We are in the same place, possibly a worse place than we were a year ago. Health and safety has never been under more attack than it is today. I'm going to share another recorded contribution from Red Leicester, and then I'll draw the meeting to a close after that.
Soaring skywards, leaping sideways, do or die words keep the air. Joy and laughter, morning's laughter, raise the rafters, we don't care. If the roof's beyond repair, raise the rafters, raise the rafters, raise the rafters, we don't care. If the roof's beyond repair. Sisters, brothers, to all others, let this be our guiding star. Hearts on fire, but no Messiah. Hear the music from afar. What we sing is what we are. Hear the music, hear the music, hear the music from afar. What we sing is what we are. Over hills and over valleys, over mountains, over seas, nation shall sing until nations cease to be. Unison in harmony, until nations cease to be. Unison in harmony.
I hope everyone enjoyed that recorded contribution from the Red Leicester Choir. Huge thanks to Red Leicester for providing those clips for us. That's one of my favourite ever songs, never mind a trade union song, but it's definitely one of my favourite ever songs. So I thought it was an appropriate one to draw this meeting to a close on. So just to mention a few final things. So for those people who are down in Town Hall Square, who are joining us from Town Hall Square, I hope you enjoy the opportunity to be able to spend some time together. I know some of you haven't seen each other for a very long time. I think there's tea and coffee available, or I'm sure you'll find some tea and coffee nearby, if not. And for the rest of you who are joining me on Zoom, I hope you've enjoyed the chance to still be part of Workers' Memorial Day, even though not physically together. I hope that you all stay safe, and that you stay well. If you ever need anything, you're welcome to get in touch with us at Leicester and District Trade Union Council if we can help you in any way with anything. And I'm just going to conclude the meeting by saying, let's all remember again those that have died. We remember the dead. and we continue to fight for the living and the health and safety rights of all of those in the workplace. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and take care.